Locho sampo pagyo trashi pa tuche tempe trinle yarngoda pelge drolo tsampe tse parachi palden lame shabla solvade Omo a guru vajra dara sumati munisha sane karm Uta vardanya shri badra varsa manya sarva siddhi hum Om Guru Vajra Sumati Munisha Sane Kan Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Sumati Munisha Sane Kan Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Sumati Munisha Sane Karm Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Man Sarva Siddhi Ahum Dagi Chitsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Siksus Gebe Shesan Dala Tendoso Uyon Sunge Nawa Tsedos Teche Nine Sowa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Visu Lekshu Yila Sambe Deden Malupa Gemel Hunge Drubra Jinge Sonye Sodan Digdun Shabe Tse Dunge Namge Yesu Lekshun Lapchen Sonye Yonsu Zopa Dan Cheranye Dun Chanra Jinge Chancho Parge Nintsen Tugun Tu Nyu Peme Siudru Lekshun Chancho Drube Gegen Kunshi Shi Tungen Dela Drubra Jinge Dagi Lona Chola Chopa Dan Chemin Samjor Ngimba Shiwa Chodan Timbe Deden Malupa Bemel Hunge Drubra Jinge Dorna Tingne Tsera Tamche Dan Techi Pardu Nekav Tamche Rese Kyamne Lama Kele Me Tukje Chinge Dala Siksus Gongya Drewe Nyamda Dachala Jetsun Lame Tuje Rabgong Kudan Sumge Nawa Drame Tu Nyamsu Nyongwe Kesan Topra Kewa Kundu Yanda Lama Da Drame Chiki Pela Longchech Sadan Lamgi Yende Rabzon Dorje Changi Koba Nyur Toba Sho Pakyuke Kudan Dagi Lo Pakyuke Sundan Dagi Pakyuke Tudan Dagi Penyerme Chiktu Chingi Alo Makyuke Kudan Dagi Lo Makyuke Sundan Dagi Nga Makyuke Tudan Dagi Penyerme Chiktu Chingi Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha Sangye Chedan Soge Chanamla Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsochi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sanamgi Drola Pinchire Sangye Drupareshu Sangye Chedan Soge Chanamla Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsochi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sanamgi Rola Pinchire Sangye Drupareshu Sangye chedan tsoge chonamla jancho pardo dani kepsuchi dagi cheshe gibe sonamgi drola penchre sangye druparasho. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So as we will continue today with the explanation of the text of Lama Tsongkhapa, the questions and the answers given more than a century later by Panchen, Losang, Chokyi, Gyaltsen. And we are on the part talking about meditation, and more precisely about analytical meditation and single-pointed meditation. But before that, before we go to the text, I would like once again, just as we did yesterday, to do together some meditation, which I think is good to make some practice also on that, so that after we can do it by ourselves. So what we will do is the very basics of meditation, which is basically learning to be present at the present moment and to focus our mind on one specific object of meditation. Later, as we with the different techniques of reality, the preciousness of this life, and so on, as we have explained also yesterday. So we start with a very simple object of concentration, a simple object of meditation, which is our breath. And then after we'll move on along with other techniques also, okay? But this is like the very basis of meditation, so it's very important. It's not because it's the basis that we may think, oh, that's not so important, let's go directly to the more advanced things. Actually, if it's like wanting to read a beautiful poem without knowing the letter A, it's a bit difficult. So first we need to learn the first letter of the alphabet. Then we can actually start slowly learning the rest of the alphabet. Then we can start writing words and reading poetry and so on. So, similar to that, the first part of meditation for me is to learn how to be present at the present moment, to bring our attention to this very right moment. And this helps us not having thoughts towards the future, not having thoughts towards the past, just being present at the present. And it's not very easy in the beginning. In the beginning, when we start, our mind to have the tendency to wander around, but we just bring it back gently, without forcing the mind too much. In a gentle way, we just don't give attention to the different thoughts that come to the mind, and we just bring it back once again to the air that comes in, to the air that goes out. Okay? So we'll do this together. So, I will explain once again today the first part of our meditation, which we will do the 9-cycle breathing meditation. The 9-cycle breathing meditation, we do it, first of all, this is a very simple technique which is used to create balance in our mind also and our subtle body. And basically we visualize that we have the central channel, which starts from our forehead, goes through our spine until the bases of our spine. And we have the left and the right channel, which goes out from our nostrils. They go side by side with the central channel, and 3 fingers below the navel, they enter into the central channel. Okay? This is just like the very, very basic explanation of our subtle body. And actually, the central channel, the right and the right and the left channels, and the so-called energy channels, they're very much connected to our own nervous system. Okay? And then what we call the winds, which in Sanskrit we say prana. Now in Tibetan its translation is lung, which is translated into as wind, but I prefer to call energy wind, because otherwise it's a little bit, when we say wind, we're trying to imagine the actual air going in and out, but this is not the main thing. It's like this so-called energy wind that they go through our channels, and it's very much connected also to the actual impulses that we have within our own nervous system. Okay? So anyhow, one of the objectives that we have in meditation, generally speaking, is to bring our energies within the so-called central channel. And this would mean bringing our mind to a deeper level of consciousness. Okay. So, in this technique, we need to remember one thing, which is that the mind and the wind, they always go together. So our mind and our energy winds, they always go together. It's given the example that the wind, which is the body in a subtle form, so the body, generally speaking, in this specific case, our subtle energy winds, are like the horse, while the mind is the horse rider. But the horse is blind, while the horse rider cannot walk. So one needs the other. In other words, the horse rider cannot go anywhere without the horse, but the horse doesn't know where to go without the horse rider. So, what happens is that the mind is the one directing the body, but the mind cannot reach where the body cannot go. In this case, as long as we have this gross body. So what happens is that when we talk about our subtle winds, in the same way, if depending where our energy winds are, our mind is also following it. But the direction that is given to the winds, it depends also on the mind itself. And there are very, very simple examples that are given. And actually, I like very often these examples that are so simple. For example, when it says the body and the mind are always connected. You know? And then one time Rinpoche we were in Holland and during this Congress of Psychiatry, and we were with this different psychiatrists just waiting for the Congress, and then Rinpoche was just talking to them. And then he asked, okay, can you tell me the history of your medicine or something like this? And the guy was telling the history of psychiatry. They were saying, okay, for a long time, we thought that the body and mind were separate things, completely separated. And then after, 150 years ago, whatever, then we discovered that body and mind are connected. And then Lama Ganchen said, oh, really? Buddha, who used to say this 2,500 years ago. No? And then the example that is given in the text of Buddha is very simple. He said, look, your body and your mind are connected. When you feel sad, tears come out of your eyes. Why should tears come out of your eyes when you feel sad or when you feel very happy if there was no connection between body and mind? So sure, there is a connection between the body and the mind. The other example which I was about to give is that in order to move my hand, in the moment I direct my mind to the hand, I do the movement of the hand. There is a signal that comes from the brain, and it goes directly to the muscle system, through the nervous system, and from that I do the movement. No? And then, actually, when we direct the mind to a certain part of the body, the movement happens in that part of the body also. So basically what is being said is that the inner subtle wind, which is like the impulses that we do in our body, we have 5 main types of winds. It's the downward moving wind, the upward moving wind, the wind of equanimity, the all-pervasive wind, and the life-sustaining wind. Different types of energies that we have in our body that are moving through our body and making the functions of our body also. But they are also connected with our mind. So, the point is that when we direct our mind, it's like taking the reins of the horse and bringing the horse to a certain direction. So through the mind, we can direct also our subtle wind. But what happens when we have a horse that is very much used to do the same path every day, and it's time for lunch and he wants to come back? You can take the reins and try to make a different road. He's not going to go so easily. Okay? Similar to that, our body is very much used to certain patterns together with our mind. So changing these patterns is not easy at all. Okay? That's why we need to repeat it again and again and again and again, and slowly we're able to change these patterns. But in the moment that we direct the mind, as we do it through visualization which doesn't mean necessarily that we need to see something. It's mostly like imagining it. In the moment that we imagine something, we direct our mind through it, the body follows, the mind follows together with the body. It's quite amazing what we actually are able to do, what the mind is able to do with the body. You know? Even once I was talking to some doctors, scientists, and they were saying that the body is able to heal any sickness. We can have the worst cancer. The body is able to cure it by itself. And then the question is, what does it need in order to do that? And the answer is to have a constant state of joy and satisfaction. Because the mind of joy, the mind of satisfaction, it actually will naturally strengthen all the immune system and so on, and then this will make the body to have the ability to cure sickness. And like this, we can go on to many, many other examples. Like I just remembered now, one time I was looking some documentary, and then they were making a study about the ability of human beings to stay, how long they can stay with a certain amount of air, of oxygen, checking the breathing system and so on. So they had this sort of room where they had a fixed amount of oxygen, and then the person will go in with all the different sensors in the body and so on. And then when the person didn't have, the body was showing signs of, not being more able to be there because of the air and so on, then they will open and the person would come out. So then they were there, and then they were checking young people, old people, before exercise, after exercise, and so on. They were checking all these things. Then suddenly they bring in one old Indian man, which was a meditator, an old sadhu. And you see this guy only dressed like with his dreadlocks, long hair, and with his little, like sort of swimming suit, like how they go. And then they are there, and he was walking slowly, quite old man. And then he sit inside in a perfect position of meditation. And then they close the door. They put in all the thing, and then 45 minutes passed by. And he was giving no signs of anything strange. And then they opened the door because they said, okay, that's more than enough. Our normal people cannot stay longer than 5 minutes, no? And then what happened is that they opened the door after 45 minutes, which was like way more than what other people could do. And then he just came out smiling, slowly. Everything normal. This means the ability to breathe so slowly, to use such a small amount of air in the process of inhaling and exhaling, and making the whole system of the body just to go very slow. This is also one of the main techniques for long life also. Anyhow, what I want to say is that through the mind we can do so much to our body also. And it's the fact that by the thoughts, and we use visualization and imagination, imagining in the sense of visualization, to direct the mind. And it really it's a very powerful tool for us. But somehow in our culture we have the tendency that to do something to the body we must do physically directly to the body. But we forget the strength that our mind has towards our own body also, which is really amazing. And we can see this when we have like fear or when we have any other moments. This makes me remember also, I first saw this when I was a small kid. I was one time in Brazil, São Paulo, playing with the kite. And then the kite went very, very far away. So I was lazy to bring it back. I was with my cousin, and we were lazy to bring the kite back. So it was quite late, so I just kept the kite there. And when we were going out, we were in this land where they were supposed to build the building, but it was empty land. And then the main door gate was closed, but we could jump around it. But then there were many dogs that came towards us, and they were barking and almost attacking us. So I got quite afraid. I was maybe 8 or 7, something like this. So I got very scared. And I just saw a big stone in front of me. So I took this big stone, I raised it up, and I threw it in front of me. It went down to the floor, it made a big noise, and all the dogs just ran away. So okay, the next day I came to the same place. I tried to raise the stone. I could not raise it over my knees. It was so heavy. And the day before I was able to bring it up and even throw it. So then at that time I just figured out, and I said, oh, look, the power of the mind when we have strong emotions, for example, such as fear in this case. We can, even the body becomes more strong. We are able to do things that normally we would not do. Out when we have fear, or when we have love, or when we have many different strong emotions also. So this is again showing the power of how the mind can influence our body. Okay, so I'm just saying this to say that the mind, when we direct the mind, the body follows also, and we can do incredible things with that. And on the other side, when we make the body also to be used to a certain pattern of the mind, then this helps the mind to keep that pattern also. So one is helping the other. They both are going together. Okay? So in the 9th circle breathing, we do this. One of the objectives is to create balance within our subtle body. So what we will do is that we do what we call the Vajra fist, which is with the thumbs at the root of our ring finger. We close it. And then we take the two first fingers, which is the index finger and the middle finger, and you put the index finger on top of the middle finger. And we will close first the right nostril, inhale from the left. Then we will exhale with 3 times from the right. Okay? We'll do this 3 times. And then we'll just go to the other side and we do the same. Okay? We will, with the left hand, we inhale from the right, we close the left nostril, and then we'll exhale from the other side. Okay? Then after we do the same thing from both nostrils. And as we do this, we just follow the air with our mind, imagining that it enters through first the left nostril, it follows the left channel, it goes below the navel, then we keep the air below our navel, and then it goes through the other channel, the right channel, and then it goes out. And as it does this movement, the air going in and then going out, it's cleaning any dirt, any blocked energy that may be in our subtle channels, okay? And basically this blocked energy, they can be what generated by our minds of attraction and our minds of aversion. Okay? So it's a way of clearing the mind, also creating space in our mind. So we do basically this, and then after that we will do just very simple breathing meditation that I will be guiding us through as we go along with it. Okay? So we sit in a comfortable position. With our back straight but not tense. Our shoulders are relaxed. Our mouth is relaxed. La bocca è rilassata. Our eyes are slightly closed, looking downward. We observe our own breath without forcing it. Just observe where it is, how we are breathing. As we breathe in and inhale, where is the air going? To our chest, to our belly. We just observe. Slowly, we bring our air down below our navel. As we gradually inhale deeper and exhale deeper. visualize our central channel, left and right channel. We will do now the Vajra fist and the 9-cycle breathing. As we inhale and exhale, we follow with our mind the air that goes in and the air that goes out. Gently, in a soft and gentle way, we take our attention away from any of the other five senses, from what we may see, listen, touch, smell, or taste. We bring the attention to our breath and any other object that may appear to our mind. We simply let it go away without grasping at it, without giving it a name, judging or explaining. We simply bring our attention back to the air that goes in and the air that goes out. As we inhale and exhale, we deeply rest our mind without losing our clarity at the present moment, observing the air that goes in and the air that goes out. as we inhale and exhale. Any other thought that may come, we simply let it go away as we gently bring back our mind to the air that goes in and the air that goes out. We keep the attention on our breath. As slowly we open our eyes and move our hands. Okay. So with this we conclude this basic breathing meditation, and then we'll go now to the text that we have been reading these days. We are in question number 36, I suppose. Tendre chitsam mang ne kyang chögo mang chir kebale lumbo no. Sorry, this is the answer. Shenyang chowa gomki gek ina tome ki ngomba kundusu te samla tembar gomba yang tak myong war shebadang shenyang keba tume te sang gomki choksu sumba nam chinchulo temba yinam tendra chitsam mang ne kyang chogo mang chir kebale lumbo tokpa ke gyurshes te sang gompe gekchepa tamcho pongwe namdar la. So here we are at the same very similar point of yesterday, in which basically is describing, let's say, two types of meditation and trying to make clear what do we actually intend as meditation. Because there are some people that say, okay, some traditions and some people say meditation is basically to abstract the mind from any thought. So to distract the mind from any thought, so to be free of any conceptual thinking and just keep the mind in this sort of empty state of no thoughts, and try to abandon the mind of any thoughts and just stay in this total sort of neutral, elevated state. Let's call it like that. Okay, empty state of the mind. So some people have the idea that this is meditation. Other people have a different idea, such as in our tradition, Lama Tsongkhapa. So he says, meditation is not only eliminating any sort of conceptual thoughts from the mind and keeping in the state single-pointed. Meditation, you always must have an object of meditation to which we will familiarize ourselves. But because this has been since a long time, and actually up to today, a big point of discussion, in the sense there is nothing wrong in having a meditation in which we simply try to eliminate any conceptual thoughts and just somehow relax within our own selves, okay, and empty the mind. There's nothing wrong with it, I suppose, but it's not a meditation on the ultimate nature of reality. It's not a way of developing wisdom. It's a way somehow of relaxing the mind and the body, which is okay, but it doesn't have that ultimate function. So, and this has been a long discussion. So here the question says, furthermore, if mental wandering is an obstacle to meditation, is it a wrong teaching for a Sangha to say in his Abhidharma Samuccaya that there cannot be correct meditation without relying upon hearing and thinking, and also many other scholars who taught hearing and reflecting as a companion of meditation? Because what those that saw meditation as simply abstracting the mind, distracting the mind from any thoughts, and resting the mind in this thoughtless state, and like emptying the mind and just doing that, they used to say also that studying too much is not good. Because when you have many concepts, then you conceptualize too much, so you're not able to abandon concepts. Because they used to say that what was the problem were all the concepts of the mind. So it's not good to have too many concepts in the mind. So that for that reason, it's not good to study too much, it's not good to listen to many teachings, it's not good to reflect too much, just sit down and meditate, just sit down and empty your mind. So this was one of the positions which was given. So here Lama Tsongkhapa makes the question in that context in which he says, so if mental wandering is an enemy of meditation, as it is, but it's said, seen by some people that the actual process of listening and comprehending, which is an important process for meditation, it was seen, and maybe up to today some people still see it like that, as an actual obstacle because it generates mental wandering. Okay? So, isn't this in contradiction with the teachings of a Sangha? A Sangha was one of the most important masters within Buddhist history, living in India. And so, please explain this better to me. Is it a contradiction with the teachings of a Sangha or not? Or is it okay to listen and to comprehend? Is it an obstruction to meditation or not? And Panchen Rinpoche answers saying, the more people like this there are, the more there are mental wandering and excitement, whereby the foolish ones are quicker than the wise ones to generate realizations, in which case saying, hearing and thinking create obstacles for meditation, is a story of forsaking the holy Dharma. Which means, this is actually, if you say that to meditate better, you should not learn well, you should not comprehend the meaning of things. You should just, the more you listen, the more you comprehend, the worse it is for meditation. This is a story of destroying the Dharma itself. This is not the real correct way of practicing at all. This is the answer that is being given. Because as we said yesterday, when we talk about meditation, we intend the process of familiarization of ourselves with a certain concept or a certain state of mind. Okay? So in order for me to familiarize myself with that state of consciousness, with that concept, first I need to generate it. And in order to generate a concept, I must listen, I must understand, I must comprehend. And when I have a clear idea about it, then I can stick my mind to it and remain into it. And fully concentrate on it. Just following the same example that we gave yesterday, or we can follow a different one. Okay, we do a different one, which is the next one that we should do. First, normally when we do this process of meditation, one of the first meditations, not exactly the first, but one of the first meditations is meditating on the preciousness and rarity of this life. How precious and rare this opportunity of life we have is. Second, we meditate on the certainty of death and the certainty of the uncertainty of the moment of death. So, for example, now, when we say, are we going to die? What's the answer? Yes. When? I don't know. But where do we feel it? In our heart, in our body, or only in our mind? Most probably in our mind. We say, yes, I'm going to die. Why? Because technically I know that it is. But do I really feel it? No. So, we realize the certainty of death in the moment that when we think about death, we feel something in our body, like a sort of adrenaline coming out. I must do something because I am going to die. It's like deep, it's strong within ourselves. This is when we feel it, is when we realize it. The sensation described is similar to what I have felt a few times when I was driving and I almost had like an accident. And something like happened, and then you feel it going through the whole body. It's adrenaline. So it's similar to that, the description that is given is like when we really understand deeply, I am going to die, and I have no idea when. No idea means no idea today. It could be today. Because when we say, I don't know when I'm going to die, okay, after a few years it could happen, maybe. But instead it's not like this. So what we do is that first we need to bring our mind by analysis, by analytical meditation, we bring our mind to reflect upon the fact of the certainty of death. Why am I going to die? Because I was born. There's nothing wrong in dying. First thing. Has anyone that was born been able not to die? No. Not that I know. So do I have any choice? No. So am I really sure? Yes. So we go through the whole logic and question until we reach to the total conclusion, yes, I'm going to die. Then after that, we start questioning ourselves when. Oh, I am young. If death is looking to me, what would death say? Why, do young people don't die? So what? I am in good health. Why? Healthy people don't die? Oh, I am wealthy. Why, rich people don't die? I am a good person. Why, good people don't die? Oh, but I am a friend of the Lama or this or that. What does that mean? It has nothing to do. Everyone dies. So, when we say, oh, but I am young, then the answer that we say, some people die even before being born. So, it's like there is no excuse in this sense. So when we reflect upon it analytically, and we make this until we reach to a conclusion where we have the strong feeling, I am going to die, I have no idea when, and we feel it. When we can feel this, then we have reached the conclusion of our analytical meditation. We have induced ourselves to this feeling. And then we just stick our mind to it and we do single-pointed meditation on it. We stay on that feeling. We stay on that sensation of urgency of doing something with this life because we are sure that this life is not going to last forever. It's important just to understand in this context that the meditation on death doesn't have the intention to generate fear about death, but it's the other way around. We generate the mind in which we give more value to life, to every instant of life. And we generate this feeling of urgency to do something positive with our life because it's going to end much sooner than we expect. Okay? So, when we generate this, we need first to listen. Then we need to reflect. Then once we reflect, it brings us to a state of consciousness, and then we just meditate single-pointed on that state of consciousness. That's what it means when we say first we listen, then we comprehend, and then we can meditate on it, okay? So the idea just to meditate without having had any learning, it's not working. Especially when we mean that meditation is familiarizing our mind with concepts and states of consciousness. If meditation would be just empty your mind, then it would be a different story. But that's not what we mean by meditation. Okay, I think it's quite clear, right? See? No, the answer is a little bit sarcastic. It's just like the answer is like making a game in between, because when it says it's a story of forsaking the holy Dharma, it's a saying, the story in which you say that the more people like this there are, that the more there are mental wandering and excitement, which means the more people that are learning the Dharma and studying and comprehending, it means that the more mental wandering and mental agitation there is, whereby the foolish ones are quicker. The ones that have no knowledge and no learning and no comprehension, they are quicker on the path of realizations because they are easier to empty their mind because they don't have much in their mind. So in which case, if you saying this, hearing and thinking create obstacles to meditation, saying this is the story of forsaking the holy Dharma. This is the story of destroying the Dharma. Okay? So this is the meaning of the answer. So it's like saying, okay, if who say like this, it's really not right. This is really the way how to destroy the teachings. So, just one more thing is that one of the reasons of this type of meditation is that we need to generate states of consciousness and concepts that are directly opposite to the ones that we want to eliminate. So, for instance, we have anger, we have jealousy, we have envy, we have ignorance of grasping at phenomenon as if things were permanent, or grasping at phenomena as if they were not interdependent, they were inherently existent, and so on. So we need to generate an opposite mind. And by that, we can actually eliminate these different thoughts. So this is actually something that there are many ways of doing this, also because our mind actually do not function based on concepts, but mostly based on experience. So through these meditations, what we are doing is that we are inducing ourselves into certain experiences so that later we can repeat them more easily. And we can refer as our mind to that experience. Okay? Just making a brief example about it. Let's take, for instance, anger. Okay? It can be used with any other feeling also, but let's take for instance, anger. If normally we react with anger to a certain type of situation. So how am I going to meditate on patience? First of all, I will reflect upon, make an analytical meditation, so I will reflect upon why I should not have anger. It doesn't matter what happened, it's not a reason to react with anger. So I can go very extensively through it, okay? There are many reasonings behind why not to get angry, how much it's harmful to us and others, how it's of no benefit whatsoever, how it's just a manifestation of ignorance, and we can go on and on that. Then when we reach the conclusion, there is no reason whatsoever for me to be angry. Then we keep the conclusion a little bit aside. And the very important point is that what we do is that at that point we simply imagine a situation that makes us angry. Okay? So imagine a situation where we would normally get angry. We really experience it through imagination. And then when we see that the anger starts to come, then we come with a mind of analysis that we have just done. I say there is no reason for me to be angry. And we apply all that understanding at that moment, and then we induce ourselves to have a different reaction towards the object of anger, of not reacting in the same way. So then, first we generate a neutral state, and then actually we can even generate compassion, for example, an opposite state of mind. When we do this true visualization, and then we stay on that state as long as we can, what we are doing is that we are showing to ourselves an experience, because it's not anymore conceptual, it's an inner experience in which we are able to react in a different way, not with anger. So next time when we will be in front of the actual situation, we will have a memory of reacting differently. So the more we do it, the easier it will become actually after to change our habit and to change our reaction. Okay? Because also, from more scientifically speaking even, it's said from the more modern studies that there is almost no difference for the brain of what we visualize, we imagine, and what we actually experience directly through our senses. So when I imagine something that I am experiencing and I have a specific way of reacting to it, this is a direct experience that I have. It's not just conceptual. So later, when I am to a similar situation again, I will naturally access my past experience. So I have created a positive experience, so I will access that positive experience. Instead of reacting with anger, I have reacted in a neutral state, or I reacted with compassion, or with understanding, or with acceptance, whatever. So what happens is that I will access that experience, so I will react according to that. So this is one of the things that we do through meditation also. Okay? So what is important first, for example, to meditate on patience, I need to understand why anger is not good and so on. So I need to learn, study, and I need to comprehend it first. Okay? Okay, we move on with the text. Question 37. We are still in the same subject. Yang gashini trowa gomgi gek yin serwa te, tartugi ngedon gombe tu yingi, namba kuntu mayin no nyamnas, ona ngedon gombe tse susortope sherabgi, chego che gosam migu, gonani trowa gomgi gek yin serwa galas, migonani tendre ngedon te ludrub loge lakton dan galwena, te tartugi gomyimbe torchik. Gashi ngedon gombe tse, trogo gek yin mi chöpar, jogom chashe mabayang, chegom trogo sungwe kyun. Okay. Question 37, and it says, we are going still in the same direction, and it says, if somebody thought that statement, mental wandering is an obstacle to meditation, is not meant to be in all cases. It is an obstacle at the time of meditating on the absolute, the definitive meaning, emptiness. Does the wisdom of individual investigation, which means the wisdom of discernment, need to analyze? Does the wisdom of discernment or individual investigation need to analyze or not when meditating? Answer. If it needs to analyze, it contradicts the statement saying that wandering is an obstacle to meditation. And if it does not need to make analysis, that kind of meditation on definitive meaning is contradicting the higher seeing of the system of Nagarjuna. Therefore, refuse that as a meditation on absolute truth. Which means, some people used to say, no, what we mean that you should have no concepts during meditation, it refers only to the meditation on the absolute meaning, on the true nature of reality. Okay? On absolute. So, at that moment, you should have no way of mental conceptualization at all. If that's the meaning, what happens to the wisdom of discrimination? The wisdom of discrimination, sosortokpe yeshe, sosortokpe sherab, is the mind that is able to make clear this is this, that is that. Basically, the sosortokpe yeshe is we have on the 5 wisdoms, like from the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, the one connected to Amitabha. Sosortokpe sherab or sosortokpe yeshe, the wisdom of discernment or discrimination, here it's translated as individual, where is it? Wisdom of individual investigation, because tokpa is investigation, and which means to understand something more deeply, to analyze it, and sosor means individual, shera means wisdom, but normally we translate it as the wisdom of discernment or discrimination, which basically is the mind that is able to make clear this is this, that is that. Is able to understand things clear, to analyze them and to say, okay, oh, how come this is a cup? How come this is a cup?
oh, this is a cup, this is a bell, oh, there is a difference between them. This aspect of our mind, okay, is this so-called wisdom of discrimination. So, do we need wisdom of discrimination when meditating on emptiness or not? Actually, yes, especially when we have the higher seeing. Because when having the higher seeing, because there are two levels of meditation, as we have seen a few days ago. We have the first level, which is the calm abiding, which is when there is the single-pointed meditation without any sort of distraction and no other object than the actual object of meditation. And then there is the higher seeing, or vipassana, which is when, while keeping the mind single-pointed, one small part of the mind analyzes the object. So the part that analyzes the object is the wisdom of discrimination. So, if you say that wisdom of discrimination, which means analysis, should not exist during the meditation on emptiness, on the ultimate nature, this means you are contradicting the explanation that Nagarjuna, which was one of the most important masters of the history of Buddhism, gave very clearly about what's the correct meditation on the ultimate meaning. In other words, some people used to say that on other meditations we should study and analyze and so on, but not when meditating on the ultimate meaning. So the actual, analysis and understanding, it's an obstacle to meditate on the ultimate meaning of reality. So who says that, it's contradicting the actual teachings of Nagarjuna himself. Because especially on the ultimate meaning, we need first to understand, to analyze, to comprehend, and then after to meditate on it. Okay? What is the ultimate meaning? I think most probably tomorrow or the day after we should go to it. Tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow is the last day, I think. No? Okay. So I hope by tomorrow, I think we can finish at least the part on meditation on the text, and then we will have left the part on the correct view of reality. Okay? So, anyhow, the point here is saying, also when meditating on the ultimate meaning, on the ultimate nature of reality, which is the highest form of meditation, there we also need the wisdom of discrimination. There we also need the mind of analysis and understanding. It's not something that should be abandoned in that case. But some people said that on the case of meditation on the ultimate meaning, there should be completely no any sort of analysis, and there is no any need of mental understanding. Okay? So this is the reason why it is actually explained. The question is here and the answer also here. Otherwise, some people just, have this type of views. Okay? Because Lama Tsongkhapa gave himself already the answer, but Panchen Gyaltsen also gives the answer as he says. Some, when meditating on definitive meaning, proclaim to do a stabilizing meditation without analyzing it, without analyzing if mental wandering and excitement are obstacles or not. This also is a fault of considering analytical meditation as wandering and excitement, as mental agitation, which means some people think that the mind of analysis is the same thing as mental wandering, as mental agitation, when actually it is not. Mental agitation, Gerpa, is when we are not able to keep the mind on the object of meditation. Instead, the mind is going around to other things. Okay? This needs to be eliminated. This is an obstacle to meditation. But instead, when there is like analytical meditation, there is no mental wandering, there is no mental agitation. Why? Because the mind is focused on the object of analysis. It's not going around thinking about other things. It's focused on that object, even though it has many reasoning and thoughts. It's not one fixed thought, as in single-pointed meditation, but still, it is focused on its own object. So this is not distraction. So when people make confusion between distraction and analysis, thinking that is actually the same thing, that analysis is a form of distraction, that's why they say that in meditation, any sort of analysis needs to be completely abandoned. Okay? But this is not correct. Well, we can go to question number 38, because I think we can actually I would like, before tomorrow, to finish the part on meditation so that we can reach the next time we go back to this text, we go from the part on the correct view of reality. Okay? So let's go to the next question. One more question at least. 38. Yang gashi trowa dan gomni migal. Trowa gom tu drowe mena yenyam nas. Tela ditites. Goeba dan trowa chikam mi chik. Shine dan gomni chikam mi chik. Chikna shine gedra chingo yimbe na. Trowa gomgi gek chebar sonlas. Mi chikna kebar kain. Trogo mi chik goebani döcha charto mashi par. Döcha charto mashi war. Günle tüle suma ins. Trö de legat trova telegachete. Trova telegachete. Shedan soge trovan yöz. Nige jogom masegi chegom layang parduchu. Shine gomda michikte gomla shine gimma kyab. It's Michel and Gyaltsen who wrote this. He was so able to write in verses. It's incredible. Because he gives all the answer in verses, no? And it's really, really very beautiful the way how he writes. Anyhow, we go to the translation. It's not as beautiful as the Tibetan, but okay. So question 38. Here we go to another type of ideas that were there. Some people used to say that meditation is not having any type of thought, and we have just explained that that's not correct. Meditation is focusing the mind on one object. Then some other people instead will say meditation is just letting the mind free without controlling it. So you just need to let your mind completely free, go into any thought, anything. This is part of meditation, okay? So the question comes. Question 38. If somebody thought mental wandering and meditation do not contradict each other, there is advice about making mental wandering become a meditation, I would ask the following questions. So some people say that mental wandering is a way of how to meditate with mental wandering. Even nowadays there is this type of explanation. Say, okay, just let your mind free, let it go, let it be, and then you will just finally totally reach a state of final relaxation when you have no control over your thoughts and you just let them wander around and so on. So if someone say this is meditation, then I would make the following question, says Lama Tsongkhapa. Are mental excitement and mental wandering the same or not? Is there a difference between trowa in Tibetan, which is mental wandering, and gerpa, which is normally mental agitation or mental excitement? We can translate in different ways. Are they the same thing or they are different? Next question. Are calm abiding and meditation the same or not? Is there a difference between meditation and calm abiding? If they are the same, the enemy of calm abiding is mental laxity and excitement. Therefore, mental wandering automatically becomes an obstacle to meditation. If they are not the same, what is the difference? So then here we have the answer. Mental wandering and excitement are not the same thing, because excitement is, as a Sangha taught in the Abhidharma Samucha, it is included in attachment and is an unpacified state of mind. What? Gerpa, the mental excitement or mental agitation, is part of attachment. So mental agitation is a state of mind that goes after objects of attachment, objects of desire. So as we are meditating, our mind goes after, most of the times, what type of objects? The distractions that we have most of the times is going out to look for what type of object? An object of desire, object of attraction, okay? And it's a state that it brings the mind to a state of not feeling peaceful. We feel like disturbed, we feel like we need to do something, we need to go for it, because when we desire something, it's not a peaceful state. Because when we want something so much, until we don't get it, we feel very unpeaceful. Okay? So this mind of excitement, of needing something, of going to look for it, is a mind that brings us to an unpeaceful state. This is what we mean by mental agitation or mental excitement, Gurpa in Tibetan. Mental wandering is even more expensive than that, because there could also be mental wandering due to aversion. Mental wandering, while mental agitation is a direct coming from attachment, going towards objects of attraction, of attachment, mental wandering is the state of mind of simply being distracted. And we can go towards objects of attraction, objects of aversion. It's just the mind being distracted itself. They both create interference, not only for stabilizing meditation, which means not only for developing calm abiding, single-pointed meditation, but also for analytical meditation. Calm abiding is not the same as meditation. Calm abiding and meditation are two different things, because because if it is a meditation, it is not pervaded by calm abiding, which means, in Tibetan it's somewhat more simple. It simply says, Gomla shinegi makyab. Gomla shinegi makyab means, being a meditation, necessarily it doesn't need to be calm abiding. Okay? Because if we say, is calm abiding and meditation the same thing? If the answer would be yes, then every meditation should be calm abiding. Then when we have analytical meditation, which is not calm abiding, what happens? When we have a profound view, which is meditation and is not calm abiding, what happens? So meditation and calm abiding are not the same thing. So the point here is actually quite simple, which is some people think that one of the forms of meditation is simply to let the thoughts flow and stay in this relaxed state where you try not to control and let all the thoughts come and flow together. I heard one time, actually, very nice speech about, I think it was on the internet, in TED, a guy talking about meditation. And he was putting very clear, meditation is just to let all your thoughts flow. As the thoughts come, they just go through. Okay? And here, actually, this is not what we really intend by meditation, because mental wandering and mental excitement are actually obstacles to meditation. So when we sit down to meditate, if our minds start just going around, this is not a meditation at all. This is just mental wandering. Okay? Meditation, we need to focus our mind at one point, or we make an analytical meditation where we analyze that point, or we make a single-pointed concentration meditation where we focus our mind on it and then we just stick to it. Okay? So this is the main thing. So mental wandering and mental excitement or mental agitation are two different things, because mental wandering is just a distracted mind, and mental excitement is coming basically from attachment. When both of them are obstacles to meditation. So the idea that just to wander around with the mind is a form of meditation, it's wrong. Okay? There is a text that we have already studied, we have already saw a few years ago, on the discussion between wisdom and ignorance, where Panchen Losang Gyaltsen went through all these wrong forms of meditation, one after the other, very clearly, and making it why they are not correct. No? And here Lama Tsongkhapa is guiding us through this also. Because even nowadays, how many forms of meditation we listen around there are there? So many, no? So it's not a matter of saying, oh, this tradition is good and that tradition is bad. But there is something called a right way of meditating and a wrong way of meditating. So basically what Lama Tsongkhapa is trying to make clear for us is saying, okay, look, these forms of meditation are right, these forms of meditation are wrong. Because if you think that wandering with the mind is meditation, it can even be pleasurable, and it can even be relaxing. It's relaxing just to let the thoughts go and not control them. But that's not meditation. Okay? This is just to make things clear. So, we will conclude now here for today. And as we will try, I hope tomorrow we can conclude the part on the meditation on the text. So last summer, we read the part of this text in which we see the whole part on conduct. So this time we're looking at the part on meditation. So then the next time we can go through the part on the correct view of reality. Okay? So we stop here now because if we open another question, sure, we cannot end it before 2. So I think we just stop on time, okay?
Jetsun lame kutse rabden chin namkar tinle chochur gepadan Losang tempe dreme sasumgi drove musel tato ne gyurchi Nimo dele tsendele nime kunyan delekshin Nitsen takto delek pe koncho sumge jingi lob koncho sumge ngodrup sol koncho sumge trashi shon.
At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Oma ahum, Oma ahum, Oma ahum. Damba lame sangye rinpoche, kyoba lame tamche rinpoche, drimba lame gendo rinpoche. Kyamne kuncho sumla chepa bu, locho sambo bagyo trashi pa, tuche tempe tinle yar. Pege drolo zambe zebra che panden lame shela chepa bu, kanshi dremba tsamge chinange parche kunse leshi tin. Soze gyache shukden ringa tse tensung kordan chela chepa bu, kenam chechin sowa tak. Daso kanto ne bersacho de nedan wibo tapso shiwa chedan trashi pelwar zedu so.